Anyone who's ever read psychology at any level? No? Oh yeah, you are, okay. So you understand what an existential crisis is. You don't have to be a psychology major to understand that. Every immigrant knows existential psychology, crisis. Okay, especially girls, you know it way more because you feel, you have a bigger spectrum of emotions. Okay, that's natural, that's medical, that's science. Okay, what's your name? Ramin. Ramin, so how old are you?
I'm 12.
10? Oh, 12. I was thinking you were 10. So 12. Ramin, you're going to feel more. How you have brothers? You're going to feel more of the world than your brother, okay? Don't judge him. He's not dumb. Okay, we just don't have enough brain, which means we're dumb, by the way. We don't have enough brain. But he's got different intelligence, you got different intelligence. Girls feel more. You get a true feeling of the world, okay? Boys don't, we don't. So what we do is, we ask. We ask the next guy, and he doesn't feel it. So what we do is, we form a conclusion based on the number of people that we are actually talking to. You can actually get the true feeling, okay? I landed in Melbourne. Okay, I'll tell you what, 10th, maybe what, 9th, 10th. I got terrified first day because of, the kind of flight I got. Did not know, one of my teammates booked that flight, okay? And as soon as I entered Melbourne, आपका नाम क्या? Nasir. The way I've been treated by Melbourne, my hosts, makes me believe that I cannot survive without them. You know, it's not just the Desi culture, but it's the personalization of my hosts, taking care of little things, and so all that flight thing is washed away. And, everything, they're taking care of everything. As much as they can, because I'm trying to run away from them and they're trying to chase. Literally, I swear to God, I'm running, hiding, and they're chasing me, finding me, so that they can take care of me. That's what your own people do for you. That's called community. That's called a bond, okay? That's what Fatima, you said, when an immigrant comes out, lives in a totally different land, he does not get that. He requires that. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's basic demand of human beings. So that everybody comes together and helps me wherever I'm down, whatever I'm suffering, let alone bleeding for whatever I'm going through. So if you don't get that, you feel less worthy. It's called self-worth. If you have enough of self-worth pattern, all of a sudden the next stage comes. You know what that is? Zero or breaking or fracturing the self-esteem. Once your self-esteem breaks, you're a nobody. You are a who? You are a nobody. Forget Australians and accents and English and parliaments and Israel. No. Your next door neighbor is going to step over you, and you would want him to do that. Zero self-esteem people want the pain. They feel as if they're getting some attention. So they're worth something. Even if someone steps on my head or face, even that is something. That's low self-esteem. That's why Fatima, immigration, hijrah is such a big thing, because you start from zero self-esteem. Your father never tells you this. You know why? You're too young. He wants to protect you. He fights this battle every day to create his self-esteem. I swear to God, that's the toughest battle. Tougher than Gaza in Israel. A battle of invisible, infinite variables going on. Color, creed, English and grammar and money and car and house and next door neighbor, his car, my family back home, my friends, my classmates, everything coming into comparison. There's a big guy, Vroom, with a V, read him up, okay? At your age, you should know that. He came up with this book. I teach that book. That's why. Where he came up with this weird phenomena, which is now a quotient. It's called Rooms Quotients. How to measure the equity of a human being versus the equity of another human being. We compare that every single time. It's called the coefficient of input versus the outputs. Whatever I give as work and I get in return versus my colleague who gives whatever input, and then if he gets more output with the same input, no matter what kind of output I'm getting, I'm still going to be demotivated. Okay? Not complicating this, what I'm saying is, self-esteem, beta, jab zero hoti hai, you have no idea. That is the lowest part of your, lowest point in your life. And zero self-esteem, man can never be a father. He can never be a mother. And you know what the problem is? He cannot be a husband and she cannot be a wife. That's why, if you're new in Australia, I do not know Ghaib, but in 10 years, you're going to have extramarital problems. Most probably. Because Pakistanis and Indians don't get self-esteem developed inside their own countries because of whatever crooks that we're actually living with, and not just Imran Khan, Nawaz Sharifs. I'm talking about your school teachers as well. I'm talking about your regular Joes. Everyone's trying to, do whatever they can. They hurt the fabric of the child's self-esteem, and as soon as he develops into some sort of a decision maker, he runs to countries like these, and as soon as he comes here, he's already suffering from low self-esteem, and this is a battlefield for the big and mighty. A low self-esteem guy is never going to win it. Never. So what he's going to do is, he's going to chase the goatees. You know why? And you know what those women would be? Not his friends. You know who they're going to be? No point for guessing those kind of women. Only to satisfy his self-esteem. And the wives are going to do the same thing. And you're not going to expect from a desi woman disloyalty, extramarital affair, infidelity. You don't expect that. So it's going to be twice the shock. Twice the shock. You expect this from a desi man, any man. You're trained into thinking men are going to cheat on you. But we are trained into thinking even if women cheat on, desi woman doesn't, Muslim woman doesn't. So that becomes such a bad, shocking, devastating event for us that we do twice the reaction. That's the spiral. God forbid you're going to enter in the next 10 years. If you're newly immigrant, especially in Australia, if you have that sort of, ST definition. So where are the symptoms and indicators? Regular indicators. I talk to boys. I'll tell you what the girls say. The boys say, sir, you know what, आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया टूर पे नजरों की हिफाजत की टेक्निक सिखाएं सर. Like really? Yeah, that's what your bigger problem is? Sir, have you not been to Melbourne yet? Have you not been out? And I said, yeah, I've been out. I've seen enough creatures like you. Yeah. नजरों की हिफाजत तो मुझे आपके थ्रू अपनी करनी चाहिए. Do you know your wife and kids require a real man with high self-worth and self-esteem who's going to call the shots, whose bigger achievement is not कि वो मेरे तो नीचे भी गोरे काम करते हैं. That's his bigger achievement. That's it. That's the epitome of life. Imagine how low our self-esteem would be that this is some achievement level in your matrix. So don't read everything here. Just try and understand what's going on out there. Okay. So your first generation immigrant is self-motivated, very self-motivated. It takes a lot of work to come out of Pakistan. Not paperwork, mental work. Paperwork to hota hi hai. Mental work, decision, convincing. Well, no, not convincing. Everyone wants you to come out. But he's super motivated. And then all of a sudden, he comes into this sort of country, and first thing he loses is his identity. Why? Because, that's why I said, apne zara clerics ke naam bataएं. Because you rightly pointed out, sir, all the people that you're going to go through, Islam ki core jo hamari identity hai, the thing that we actually cherish the most, no matter what you take off, take my clothes off, take my skin off, cannot take Islam off. We all have that in common. Take my passport off, yeah. Take my kids away. Don't take my Islam away. That's what we are. And you know what the problem is? That's the first thing anyone's going to take away. You know why? Because usko ground hi nahi kiya hua. We have not centralized the function of Islam, the purpose of Islam. And if you do not know the purpose of being in any company, how are you going to remain in that company? Whatever job that you do, if you don't know the purpose of the company and your purpose in the company, then how are you measuring the worth of your own self in that company? Think about it. What kind of contribution are you doing in that company if you don't even know what the company does or what you have to do for that company? That's something that mainstream Islam misses. I'll tell you why. Because we were influenced in the 1700s, 1800s when Muslims were losing their system, their whole political system in 1924 fell down on its face, and Winston Churchill did not just draw lines on the map, he drew lines inside our minds as well. Okay? That's the problem most clerics are not solving. That's the problem most Muslim speakers are not telling you, because they're taking that literature of what to do in Islam from the time when Islam was already an established system in the world. So they're going to quote you all the big names, literally, from Ibn Kathir to Ibn al-Qayyim, from Ibn Arabi to Ibn Hisham. Every hadith, every ayah, everything, and then the reference of the tabi'ins and tabi'ins and, till 200 years ago. But they keep forgetting that at that time, Muslims were not dying to go to Canberra and Miami. Muslims were inside a central system when they were writing all of these books. Muslims never suffered from that problem of existential crisis. Never.